Yo,
Hey,
is it working?
finally, we made it.
Oh, where is شو اسمه Carlos?
Sorry?
Carlos.
Carlos, yeah, what is it?
Carlos. Yo.
He's trying to get out of doing it.
Excuses not to come.
He's running away. He's on a plane to
Yeah, his
to
accent.
France.
He is not here now. Carlos. We will wait for him. 3 minutes, 4 minutes, we'll see. Carlos.
So you did this before?
I did it. Usually, I am not the host. I did it once where I was the host with my teacher from CG Spectrum, and yeah, I was very nervous, honestly, but it went very well. Yani,
That's cool.
so this inshallah it's gonna go very well, and you know, it's easier when you are more guys. You know,
Yeah.
everybody can put.
You just let the other ones talk.
Yeah, you throw the ball on them and let them have fun. But when it's only you, it's like, oh, you know?
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. But, oh, is Carlos here? Oh, Carlos, okay. Oh, welcome.
Uh,
Welcome,
We made it.
Carlos.
in the darkness.
In the darkness.
No,
It looks like a horror movie or something.
really? Yeah.
It's okay, it's okay. I'm gonna show your work, guys, in the
I'll
video.
do this instead.
So
Did
it's gonna be voice and
you
video.
move it to the basement?
Yeah, no, it's so dark here.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we are live now. So it's gonna be a chat, yani, like we're like in the social hour. So before we start, even, how are we doing, guys?
Pretty well, I think, for my part.
Yeah, me too.
A bit tired, but yeah.
Everything is good. By the way, guys, you are, for everyone who is listening, those are my colleagues from Paradox. They are part of the 3D team, and they're specifically the character art team. I honestly consider them my older brothers. I have learned a lot from each one of them. Yani Carlos at the beginning, Niko was my first neighbor. Nils, he was the hardest on me, but I learned a lot from him. He nitpicks everything, but he is really, he has a keen eye, and I learned a lot from all of them. I'm so happy to have you guys, and you guys are I really love you guys, you know that.
We love you.
We love you too.
I love you more, wallah. And I hope, guys, wallah, I'm doing a contest now on Instagram, a concept art contest, so for design. If you guys like this, we can do another one where you guys are the judges, and we can pick a winner. The winner is gonna have either a tablet, a drawing tablet, or Xbox. I don't know where the Xbox will come from. Shh, don't tell anyone. I'm gonna buy it. I'm kidding. But yeah. All right, guys. So let's start with the first question. The method is gonna be, I'm gonna ask a question, and we're gonna start with the oldest one of you guys, going to the youngest. So we'll start with Carlos, then Nils, then Niko. So the first question is gonna be, how did you guys get into art, and when did you move to 3D?
Yes, all right. So into art, I've been into art since I was a kid, you know, drawing and all that stuff, and it's always been a part of my life. So I went to art school after, you know, the regular school, and picked up 3D modeling on the way, and saw that there is opportunities to work with this stuff as a professional. So yeah, it's really been since a kid, actually.
And when did you start, Carlos? How old were you?
It started drawing.
Yes.
That was when I was a kid. I don't know, 3 years, 4 years.
Oh, okay.
Something like that. So
Nice.
that's my first ambition was to actually become a 2D artist, and that's something I still have as an ambition. 3D art was more of a, I can make a living on this. It's easier in a way to break in the industry with 3D. At least that was the case back then. How I perceived it, at least. But 2D, it's still a thing I want to do. Paint, become a painter, essentially. I love that stuff.
Nice, cool.
That's cool.
Nils.
Yeah, actually, I just wanted to comment on Carlos. I didn't know that you went to art school.
I told you, man. I told you several
Oh,
times.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Is this part of the act?
Yeah, I went for one year.
What did you think about it? Was it useful?
Art school was, it was nice in a way because I got to do a lot of certain stuff that I really enjoyed, like figure drawing. We had like figure drawing for 4 weeks in a row, and that for me was really, really, really good. And but there was also other aspects like photography that I didn't enjoy at all back in the days, and also sculpture, with clay, and I didn't enjoy that at all.
What? You didn't?
Yeah, no, not at all. I think the sculpturing was okay, but it was all the other stuff around it. Like when you're done with your sculpt, you have to make a I don't know what's it called in English, but gyps.
Cast.
Yeah, the cast and all that stuff was so technical, and
that's true.
It wasn't for me. I ended up a 3D artist, and I really love sculpture now, but back then it was just a pain. But overall, art school was really good for me. It opened up my eyes into what I could do in the future and what I could work with, and so it was nice.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing, right, with like most educations, is that you're kind of forced into doing some things that you're maybe not that interested in. But I think like it can still be good to have done those things because they build your experiences a lot.
Yeah, for sure. The photography course we had, even though I didn't like it, it opened my eyes for composition, lighting, and values and stuff like that. And that's something I took with me to the my 2D stuff. So I totally agree.
Cool. Nils, did you go to a school also, or did you learn on your own?
I didn't go to art school like Carlos, but I did go to computer graphics education. And that was back in 2006 to 2009, so it tells you a bit about how old I am.
So immediately after school, you went to...
I actually had 1 year in between where I took some other university courses in history, which is also a big interest for me. So, and at Paradox, of course, I get the benefit of combining those interests, so for art and history, which is pretty cool, I think. And I actually had some use for that year as well, studying history. But I guess apart from that, it's pretty similar to Carlos. I've been drawing a lot since I was a kid, and just always had that interest in art things. And
we want a specific age, not just a kid.
Specific age.
Yeah, how old were you?
Well, but like, what age do most kids start drawing? I guess it's around maybe 3 or 4 years old.
Something like that.
but you draw ugly shit, like it's obviously it's not good. No one is gonna be good. But the thing I think that happens is that like most people, they just, at some point they stop drawing. Like all kids draw when they're kids, right?
Yes.
But
we
at some point,
just don't grow up.
yeah, exactly. I think that's the thing. Like most people just grow out of that and stop drawing, and they kind of they stop developing artistically at that point. But like the difference for us, I guess, is that we didn't stop, just keep drawing, and you have that interest. And of course, with 3D, I started sculpting manually, the thing that Carlos hates, apparently.
I hate it, not now.
Okay.
Back in high school, I hate it.
But I did this for miniatures mostly, and I was really into Warhammer at that time. So this was around 14 years old, 15.
Wow.
Started doing it a lot, and practiced. I think that's how I like learned to think more three-dimensionally. And I painted those miniatures, which also like also good artistic practice, I think. Then with 3D I started modding games when I was around 18, 19 years old. So I learned that way. I wanted to create my own mods for strategy games like Total War, that kind of stuff. So I learned 3ds Max and decided that this was something I really liked. So I looked for educations, and I found the one in Skellefteå, which is a city in Sweden, really far to the north, but actually quite close to where I come from. So that wasn't that hard for me to go there. That was 3 years education, and I got my first job shortly after that.
Nice. So the second school, how old did you go how old were you when you went to the second school?
To university, I was 20 years old, I think, when I started. You
went to 2 schools for art, or one?
No, just one for computer graphics, and then before that it was university studies in history.
Okay.
So that was completely unrelated. That was just for a year.
Okay. All right, and now Niko.
Oh yeah, for me it's like very, very different from Carlos and Nils. So I didn't have I always knew that I wanted to do something with art, but you know, I come from Greece, and the idea of doing art for a living in that country is like pretty much non-existent. Even now, it's like very primitive. That industry is like one game studio, I think, in the whole thing or something. So when I migrated to Sweden and was like 25, 26 years old, and I went to Medborgarplatsen, which is like an area down the center, to have some beers. I saw like Paradox and Dice and Fatsark and all those studios. I'm like, okay, there is an industry here for gaming. Maybe I can, I don't know, do some art that I always wanted. So for me, the education part was like self-taught. Started when I was 27, 28, in my free time. And then I found my first paid freelance work like 3-4 years ago, but still couldn't get into the industry with the freelance experience I had. So I talked with a couple of people, and how things work here in Sweden is like pretty much you have to work the system, how the system works. So you have to go to a school, get an internship, and then get a job in the studio you're gonna be in. So that's what I did. But I went to a school when I was like 32, 31, something like that. And I didn't learn a lot, to be honest, from the education, but it gave me the time to work on the portfolio and learn my skills, and I didn't have to go in my morning job.
So Niko, did you do any art before before 27?
Like, to be honest, when I was a kid, I had a friend that had like some miniatures. I think I have painted 1 or 2 miniatures when I was like 4, and I remember stealing my mother's nail polishers and painting Hot Wheels or something like that. But no, I don't have any art. So when I was a kid, like, my mother asked me, "Yo, what do you want to be when you grow up?" And I said, like, I want to be an artist. And she's like, "Oh, you cannot be an artist. Yes, like, you're gonna have, there isn't any jobs related to art."
Yeah, like,
So, yeah.
get a real job. They usually
job.
say that. Yeah.
Although my mother is also an artist. Like, she was painting in canvases and all that stuff with oils and acrylics when she was younger. She knew the struggles. That's why she pushed me away from having my idea of becoming an artist. But I started in Greece. I went to do software development and web development, and I always found myself like going, "Oh, I'm going to do the photography part. Oh, I'm going to do the graphics part." I always found myself trying to do the artistic part of the thing. But yeah.
So that's amazing. يعني, I also started very early. I started when I was 2. My mother tells me. So it's very similar to Nils and Carlos, and it's good to know that you don't have to start at a young age. يعني, Niko is an example that you can start at 26, 27 and still make it in the industry. Maybe I think in 3D art it might be easier than 2D art to start a little bit late, because 3D is a little bit more technical. 2D is يعني, has a lot of. We can have this on another even podcast, like, which is harder. I will leave it for now, but that's a very good example on how on when you can start.
I think that's a really interesting topic, actually.
Yeah.
But I agree. There's definitely paths within 3D that you can take, even if you don't feel like you have a lot of confidence in your art skills. You can focus more on the technical side, and you can definitely have a successful career.
Definitely. All right, we will move to the next question. So the next question is going to be, you don't have to answer it in a specific project, just an overall. Give me an overall view. So what are you guys currently working on, either project-wise, but don't mention the project, or practicing-wise? Start with Carlos.
Yeah, I'm not gonna mention anything work-related, but I do stuff at home in my free spare time, and there I have tons of projects. Like most artists, I start projects and then I don't finish them, so I have tons of them. But right now I am working on we have a art challenge work. With the theme is the Dune books and films, and you can do whatever you want. So I'm doing a character, of course, based on that stuff, and that's really fun. I'm using the actor for the new Dune movie, so I'm trying to do a likeness of him, and it's really hard. It's maybe the hardest thing I've done. Because making likenesses, it's hard, and he's a young man, smooth face and like no wrinkles, nothing. It's just so hard to make it look like him. So yeah, that's what I'm working on right now, and yeah, I have tons of other projects, and I mean, I will eventually finish them, but I think each project that is not finished, it's still taking me, somewhere, one step ahead. It takes me to the end goal, even though I don't finish them. So I think it's good that I actually do stuff.
Yes,
for sure.
100%.
Yeah, I think like on that note. Like not finishing projects and starting a lot of projects. I totally agree. Like you can still get a lot of value out of doing a project even if you don't finish it. So I think you shouldn't be, if you feel really tired of something and fed up with it, I think it's perfectly fine to just leave it and do something else. If it's your own personal stuff, no one is gonna care, no one is gonna judge you for it. So
Yeah.
Definitely, rather than like pushing yourself to something that you don't really want to do, and sometimes it can be even like a blocker for you. Like you feel like you should finish this and that, but you don't really feel motivated, and then you end up not doing anything, just procrastinate it.
Exactly. Put in the hours, whether you finish or not. It all adds up to your skill set.
Exactly, and like, there's so much, just like Carlos, there's so much stuff that I worked on and never finished, but I still can apply that knowledge in the stuff that I do now. And, like, I still could grow.
Definitely. Just 100%.
On what level you are, for example. I think when you are like earlier in the process of becoming an artist, I think you should finish the thing and see where you lack. But when you become more experienced, you know where you lack and what areas you need to work on. You can be a bit more selective, but I think it's also a good thing to not just leave things. Like to come up, even if it's not good, but do the whole thing and see how it would be if it was finished, like with the renders and the materials and the UVs and all that stuff. Like see the whole picture, and then you don't have to finish all your work, but it's a good, discipline yourself and finish some of those. It's a good point.
Yeah.
And if you're working on your portfolio, of course, you want to have finished pieces in that. That's the ideal. Like when we look at applications, it's definitely better to, if you see some finished pieces, than just like some rough sculpts or something. So definitely for that, it's a good idea to try and finish some things.
Yeah, and usually we only show like 1/10 of what we work on, maybe even less. We work on a lot of projects. We jump from one thing to another, and we show only what we want to show, the good work. So some people might think, oh, this guy or girl, they only do good work, but no. And if you take a look at what we do, sketches and studies and everything, it's a lot of stuff that we don't show.
Because people that look at your portfolio first, not art people, are like HR people, which might or might not know about art, and they see something and say like, okay, it's realistic, it fits, and it has one item which is perfect, and we're gonna hire it, which might not be the case, because if you are an artist, you know that you have done it like hundreds of times.
Yeah.
Something from that in your portfolio or whatever.
Yes. All right. Let's jump to the third one. It's going to be good. I want to hear your guys' opinion on that. So what do you guys, go any way you want. Even if you want to go to mindset, not technical skills related, I want to hear your answers. What do you think, what does make a great 3D artist?
I'm sorry, I have to roll this back because neither Nils nor Niko says what they're working on.
Oh.
I don't even realize.
What did we answer?
We just drifted off on the tangent.
What are you currently working on? Oh, great.
I love this.
Yeah.
Net cost is garlic. Like, you can afford the home, right?
That's good. Good that we're keeping track. Nice.
So
okay, I can go quickly.
Go ahead.
So yeah, at work right now, without going into anything specific, I'm doing some super boring stuff. So actually for the last month or so, I've been just working on documentation, which is kind of like not exactly what you sign up for when you become an artist, but it's kind of necessary necessary evil thing
Yeah.
sometimes, and it's important as we're growing as a company. We need to have better documentation about the systems we use and the processes we use. And that's kind of part of the being a bit more senior. You have to take on that kind of stuff as well. So that means I focus a lot on my free time projects instead, because I need to have some output for creativity, or I would just go crazy, I think. I'm sure you can relate. So aside from work, I'm like Carlos, I have several projects going on actually, and I have a really big 3D project. I'm working on a character that's been going on for a long time. Actually, it's more than 2 years that I've been working on and off of that. And it's taking so long because I keep going back and redoing things. I'm never satisfied with it, which is not ideal if you want to finish things and have a lot of things in your portfolio. But I do feel like I learn a lot by doing it. So it's again, like just because I enjoy this concept and this character, I keep doing it. Otherwise, I could probably just leave it and walk away with those experiences and those learnings. But I'm actually taking a break from that project again. So I'm working on some 2D stuff right now, which feels fun and inspiring because I haven't done it for a while. So that's, I was planning to do another painting. I've been doing a few paintings in the last year. So just because I think it's nice to have that break from doing 3D that can get very technical and frustrating sometimes. And just do some like 2D work, which is a lot more straightforward, and it's kind of like artistic thing.
Relaxing a bit.
Yeah, definitely. But of course, it's very ambitious, so I'm still trying to push myself, even with the 2D stuff.
No relaxing for you.
Well, not when it comes to art.
And the only thing you do is art. Cool, man. That's really cool. Glad to hear. What about you, Niko? What are you working on?
Oh, thanks, man, for remembering. I have more people here than Carlos. But for work, I'm not going to talk about what I'm doing at work, but for in my free time, personal time, I'm doing like a couple of things, and I'm trying to divide the time. As far as I'm doing some game related characters for my portfolio, but I get banned a lot, so I'm doing game art all day at work, and then I come home and start again and from the beginning and all that stuff. So I found that I'm burning up faster doing the same thing from the start. And my focus, like the last 2 or 3 months, is like I'm producing my own miniature line and spending all that money that I saved 2 years of doing daily work and freelancing work and commissioning artists to start building miniatures that I'm gonna have the files available for 3D printing, for home 3D printing. So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
When do you expect this to come? Like the website and everything?
I expect this month. I have like 3 miniatures under development, and 2 artists are gonna start next week one, and next year the other one. So we're gonna be 5. The first miniature is like done, so I'm doing test prints and all that stuff. But yeah, you know, you'll have to create the logo, find the name, the website, take some photos and all that stuff. That's like part of the process from building your own things. But yeah.
Do you have the domain for the website?
Yeah.
Do you want us to put it in the description so people can find?
Yeah, when it's ready, I can send you a link and you can put it.
All right. Yeah, even if you do it after a month, we can edit it, so no problem. I will also put description to all your guys' portfolios so people can find you.
Oh no.
That's part of it, Carlos. It's not to hide. We want people to see you. You can't hide forever.
Yeah, like for my portfolio, people are gonna be like very confused because I think that having my portfolio is like environmental.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, the description and okay. Oh, you can't post your character stuff?
Yes, I can when it's finished and all that stuff. You know, like the moment you land a job, your portfolio becomes like a second or a third priority. So you.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So let's get back to the third question. I hope we answered number 2. So, what do you guys think? What makes a great 3D artist?
Yes, I was thinking about this, and for me, I think what makes a great 3D artist, when it comes to character art, it's one that knows and masters the basics. Because the basics, for me, it's the most important, and for us, character artists is like, you know, anatomy, form, you know, weight, all that stuff. When you nail that, you can do whatever, really. You can make monsters, you can make, you know, stylized stuff, but nailing that down for me is the most important thing. And the ones I see that, you know, has that knowledge and that nails the basics, they do so good work. And I think that's also applicable to 2D also. Like the artists I admire the most, they nail all that stuff, and on top of that they build their own style and whatnot.
Cool. Nils?
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything that Carlos mentioned, for sure. I think there's several ways to look at this question, and I feel like more and more I get the perspective of working in a company and what would I look for in an application. And in addition to those things that Carlos mentioned, which is more about artistic skills, I also think to be a successful 3D artist in the industry, you need a few more things, which is of course like the classic ones, having good communication skills and being able to work in a team, have the right attitude, but also being, I think, adaptable is quite important, so that you're able to adjust your style, your personal style, to fit with whatever are the requirements from the project, and you're willing to change workflows and to try new things and to learn new things, explore new things yourself. Those are all things that we look for in applications, and that I think are important to work with it, to be a professional. And like that's on top of the ones that Carlos mentioned, and of course the technical skill of being able to, you know, having all the basics of how to make a topology and the know-how how to use the programs and how to work with game art in general.
Before you jump, Niko, I will not forget you, Allah. I just want to say something about what Nils said. I agree 100% because I was giving a lecture to a university back home, and the teacher told me that a lot of kids, they have very, very hard time working with a team. They only want to do art on their own. And I thought that this is very, very normal. Yani we as artists, we kind of are usually a little bit more, you know, not... we don't have the greatest communication skills usually. That's why a lot of us, we go to art. But that's why I told her, I told her it's a must. يعني the ability to learn how to sacrifice is a must as an artist. You have to know how to. You're not doing it for you. You're doing it for the team. You should be a good team player. You should adapt. You're not doing it for you. يعني you don't win every day. Sometimes even your friend, they make you win. The other day you make them win. It's a play. You play. Okay, and so that's a very good point. يعني even when I asked the question, I didn't think about it, but it's a holistic thing. You cannot be a great only in the technical, especially if you want to work in the industry. You must have good communication skills. So thanks for bringing this up, man. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Niko, let's go.
So yeah, I agree with everything that everyone said. For me, it's a bit like very tricky question because it's like, okay, what does like a good 3D artist in general or a good 3D artist at work? For me, it's like kind of different things. What I'm looking for, if it's for a job or if it's like for a portfolio or whatever. So I think like flexibility for me is like flexibility. I don't like one of the things that I always look at, if a person can do one thing or the same thing in 10 different ways, for example, so you're not blocked about softwares and technicalities and all that stuff. And then it depends on your level, I guess, and what's the job position you're looking for. I would look for different things. I think that I don't like to be a perfectionist. I think it should be a balance about quality and speed. And from my experience, most artists look about quality. They don't consider like the cost and how many people are gonna do the job, or how much money the company is gonna invest, or how many days more it's gonna take. So they tend to focus only in doing art and not have a broader perspective about the team and the company and the production in general. So I think that's a good skill to start thinking not only about art but also like the more development in general. As far as professional work. For personal work, yeah, if you upload half-finished stuff on your portfolio, then yeah, you give me the impression that you don't have the discipline to finish some stuff and put in your portfolio, or you don't have the patience to do a finished art, for example. So it depends. It depends on the variables there for my answer, but yeah.
I really love it. It's like Carlos started with the foundation, then Nils added, and then you added. So it's very, very good, concrete answer. Everyone gave a different chunk, and they all add up to a very, very great answer. So really amazing. This one, I think you guys will love, and I really want to hear, like, what is your ultimate goal? What do you want to achieve? I don't want you to put what do you call it? Don't put a roof. If there was no roof, what would you want to achieve? Honestly. Yeah, be brave. Yeah, go.
I'm so boring. I don't have.
Ah, no.
No, I'm really boring. It's like, for me, I have I just want to be able to nail anatomy, be able to do a likeness where it's not a pain, where I don't struggle as much. I just want to be able to do it, and I feel a bit relaxed instead of this. Why doesn't it work? Why am I not that good to make it in the first try? For right now, that's my goal, to just become better at what I do. And down the line, that goal might change to something else once I become better. We'll see. But yeah, I don't have any, big goals or anything like that. It's just becoming better. yeah, like I said, boring answer.
I'm gonna ask you this a year from now, and I hope you think about this.
Yeah.
I think that's an interesting point, though, that you say that it might change down the line, and I think that's definitely the case for many people, including me. That this kind of goals they tend to change a lot, and you might think that at some point, like I want to have this and that job, and do work with this kind of project, and then either maybe you achieve that and you find another goal, and probably you will find that goal somewhere on the way to achieving that. So it's like, at least in my experience, like the goals become less and less relevant the closer you get to them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's like, for me, I used to have a lot of career-related goals. Like, I want to work for a big game company and work on like big titles. And as I've gotten more and more of that, actually done that, it's becoming less interesting and less relevant. So I find.
No, let me tell you. Now Nico's gonna jump and blow the place. But no, before Nico says he wanna rule the whole universe, I will tell you, man, why work? Make your own. لا خلاص يعني you did this. Think in 10 years or 15 years, you're gonna make your own studio, or you are the new company, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of where we're at.
Don't put a rule.
Yeah, no, I think so. But I think it's also good to, like, maybe, I think it's a good thing to have these increments in your goals, because if you plan for, like,
just put it in the subconscious, throw it there like a possibility. Don't remove it. Yeah. It will give you, like, whenever you do something, oh, I might do that in the future, you know? Don't remove it 100%.
For sure, you should keep it always as a possibility. Yeah. But I think it's also good to have, like, steps in between, so you don't aim for something that's so far away that it feels like almost unachievable.
Yes.
But I was gonna say, my goals right now are more in terms of, like, independence, and I want to work on something of my own. So that definitely is close to what you're mentioning. But it's not about, like, having a really big company or making a AAA game or anything like that. It's more about the actual independence in the day-to-day. So it might be like stepping back to doing more freelancing, or like working on my own smaller project, like my own game perhaps, or illustrating a book or a comic or something like that. I don't know exactly what it is. I think that's the kind of stuff I'm thinking about right now.
I really hope in 10 years, man, this ignites something in Carlos and in you. And you step up, wallah, the limits. Just remove the roof. Wallah. Yani just put the possibility, and then you will see, inshallah, wallah, with days, it will materialize slowly. Yani, okay, this is not impossible for me, you know? Sometimes you just have to give yourself permission to level up, to go there. Working for companies.
It's also, I think it's a question about, like, having the guts to take the steps sometimes as well.
Yeah, because sometimes you, between yourself, you think, am I worth this big goal? Yani, who am, you know the thing. We artists, we are very easy on ourselves. Yeah, we love to torture ourselves in a way. but it's about, yani, if not me, then who, you know? Let me go there, you know? Yeah. Now, the best answer in the podcast. Go, Niko!
I think that's a lot. That's very. That person also has many variables. I mean, like, artistically, I don't like when people are looking for specialists. So I wanna reach a level that I can do environment and character.
Yes.
In a good level, and be like.
Very good.
and not be like, oh, you're like a hair specialist artist. It's like totally fine.
Yes.
I don't like it, that very specific thing. Career-wise, I would say that I'm more like a big picture. I like to direct things. I like to position the team where I feel like we need them to, mentor the thing, organize how we can be modular and procedural and not rely only on one thing. I don't like the blockers. And from my experience, I always try to do that. So it's like back in Greece also I had like my own company. I started an own company here before I sold it and become a game developer. Now I'm starting the miniature thing. So it's like part of myself, I think, it's like to do that. So yeah, and I always aim higher that I think I can reach. So from 1 to 10, I always aim for the 10, and I will always end up in a better position if I have aimed lower. I think so. Yeah, and I don't take it personally. So if I don't reach that 10 I have aimed for, good. Like I'm not gonna become depressed.
If you don't reach 10, man, aim for 11.
Exactly. I mean,
Wow.
like, you have to have a vision. Like, you have to close your eyes and imagine a day. So before I became a game developer, I knew when I was closing my eyes, I would be in a studio. Because when I came to Sweden, I was working as a cleaner. I was cleaning toilets and everything. So my vision was like, okay, one day I will grab my tablet and I will, get into an office and do game art and all that stuff. And I had the vision. Now I have a different vision. But that's an extension of where I am now. So I think you have to vision it. If you do not vision it, if you cannot see the path, I don't think you're gonna reach it. So even if it's like becoming better on sculpting, if you can envision what is that you wanna do, let's say I close my eyes and I set myself sculpting a perfect figure in that amount of time, it will help you to reach that. If it's like closing your eyes and imagining your comic book or an illustration book, like Nils mentioned before, which is like great. I love products, making products. It's like if you can imagine the pages of the book, it's more likely to happen than if you cannot imagine what's gonna be on every page of the book. So yeah.
I think that's a really good point. When you have a goal to not, if you really want to achieve it, you could actually, it's just not a thought. You can actually break it down in steps, like what do I need to do to reach there? And, write down those steps and take one by one. And by then you will reach that goal. But if it's just floating up there in your thoughts, you might, not do it in the right order, or it might just slip out of your thoughts, or can be good to actually, have some structure and some minor goals to reaching that big goal.
Yeah, definitely. And like what Carlos said is like very important. Even if you feel that you have to take a step back and do something else before taking the next step, don't feel bad about it. Like, it's your goal, it's your vision. No one's gonna criticize you negatively. And if they do, don't listen to them. Like what Carlos said, like you have to have an end goal, but the end goal comes like with many small steps. Even if it's baby steps or if it's big steps, you have to sometimes take a step back to reach what you are aiming for.
A really great answer from you guys. Thank you. This question, I know who's gonna love it, but let's go ahead. Who is the best among the three of you?
You know how I call Nils. It's like I call him Golden Boy.
Golden Boy.
He's like art fashion winner talent. It's not doesn't come by chance.
Yes. Yeah, he's really, and he's good among the, Not in what's the other website? Other than ArtStation. What's?
Is there any other?
No, the one that's crappy.
I haven't heard about it.
DeviantArt.
DeviantArt.
Oh, it's that. Well, that's the best description.
And who is the most competitive?
Oh,
In a good way, you know, not a hater way.
I don't know if I am. I'm definitely the more vocal one.
Do you think you are more competitive or me, Niko?
I think I am more competitive.
I agree.
A lot more competitive. I also think Nils is very competitive, but he's
competitive doesn't usually mean vocal.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Deep inside him, he's like very competitive. Just like introvert.
I think it's funny though. Like it's funny to joke about, but I think there's an interesting perspective that this competitiveness, I think, is a very strong driving thing.
Yeah.
And, you're absolutely right, Niko, that I am very competitive
I know.
At my heart, and it's something the more experience I get, the better I become at hiding it. But definitely, it's still there for sure. But it's a powerful thing, really. But it's also it can also be difficult at times because
it can backfire.
Yeah, it can make you feel pretty bad, and it can also cause like problems in cooperating with people. And I have experienced this in the past in my career, and it's something I learned a lot from. Like it can be a good thing, but it can also be a problematic thing in some circumstances.
It's a superpower, but you really have to, control it.
Yeah, you have a weakness as well. So it's like all superpowers, it comes with a weakness.
I think I am the most competitive, even though maybe you don't think so, but I'm very, very, very competitive. Very. And people back home, they know. Maybe when I came to Sweden, I became a little bit, it's a new country. I was shy.
I think you're good at hiding it, though. Because you strike me a lot as like you like to cooperate, and you're really like encouraging other people. So you don't have that aspect of like having to lift to raise yourself all the time.
No. Yeah, that's exactly the way. I think, I think you guys will agree. If you are a good competitor and you are not afraid, then why try to tear anyone? If anyone wins, they deserve it. You have to be a good competitor with good spirit, with good sportsmanship, I
mean, like, competitiveness is like very broad. Like, when I'm thinking like competitiveness, it's not like, oh, I'm gonna reach that level. It's not that I'm gonna become better than that person. I don't care about the other person.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like, depends on how people see it. Like, I have met people when I was at Future Games at school, and they say like, oh, if I become better than that person, I might have a job opportunity. And I'm like, that's one person at the school who no one cares about. But, in general, you shouldn't aim to be better than anyone.
Yeah, the only person you should aim to be better than is yourself.
Like, you can't have benchmarks, like say, oh, I want to become like Nils one day when I grow up, and all that stuff. But in a not like, if I reach that, that's it. Like competitiveness.
No, I will ask you a question. Do you say between yourself, I will be GOAT?
No.
Between yourself. Who said no?
I said no.
Carlos, what about the other two? I want to hear the other two.
Like self-motivation, I think, like if I say I want to be God, I would be an idiot, I think.
No, not God. Not God. Greatest of all time. GOAT.
Good or God?
What?
Good or God?
No, not God. What the hell? Who says God? No. No. Oh shit. Oh, now I understand why the awkward silence. God, astaghfirullah. No one will say God. What is this? I am Muslim also. I believe in God. No. GOAT. Greatest of all time. Michael Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, self-motivation I think is very important because, like, if you cannot motivate yourself, it's very difficult for other people to motivate you. Like, you have to have that self-motivation yourself as well. Yeah.
Niko, you didn't answer me. I didn't like that. Do you say that you want to be GOAT?
Yeah.
Right. So I wanna be good, yes.
Not good. GOAT, greatest of all time. Yalla, be brave. Do you think? Can you even say it between yourself?
No, I don't think I can become the greatest of all time, but I think I can become great if I put in the hours and the mindset.
Nils.
I think it's like, to be honest, it is kind of the ultimate goal.
Oh, I love this. I love this.
And like, it's not necessarily realistic.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
No, but it's always the ambition to become better and better.
Truth.
So and there is no true endpoint to that. And like, if you really make it, and yes, you're gonna be GOAT. Not that I think it will happen for me or like for most people, obviously.
Yes.
But I think I do have that perspective somewhere deep inside. Anything I do, and anything I do seriously,
I love this.
I will try to become the best at it.
Then Shisma, Niko, you're not as competitive. Yeah, look, he can go there. He can be brave enough to say, I want to be GOAT. Step up your game, Niko.
No, it's like, I'm more wise. But
all right, that's interesting in a way, and the God part was very, very bad. I'm sorry you guys heard it this way. Well,
I think it was funny.
It wasn't funny, but yeah. All right, we have the last question now. I might think of learning 3D in the future. In a way, not obviously I don't want to be a good 3D artist. I can't. I don't have enough time. But just the basics. So if I want to get into 3D, or anyone else who is listening, what do you guys think they should focus on in 2020 up to 20, maybe 25? What do you think will be the future? And what is the minimum requirement for entry nowadays?
It depends, I think. Carlos.
You guys, we don't have to go in order. You can jump.
No.
Let's go.
Oh, Niko, you had something.
Yeah, I mean, like, it depends on the discipline. Like, most of the studios are looking for either environment artists, or hard surface, or props, character artists, or hairstyle artists. It depends on the field you wanna specialize on. But I think you should. It's a very catchy question. You should learn what's now the mainstream thing. Let's say if you are doing 3D modeling, you should learn how to use Maya or 3ds Max, that are like the industry standards and zebras. But if you want to be a bit more future-proof, you should dip into Houdini, blenders that are going to become like the next things in all that stuff. So it's tricky. You have to keep up with a lot of software and pipelines and all that stuff. So yeah, it needs a lot of work.
Yeah, definitely. I think those are all good points. So software is important, and like to show that you're able to use the industry standard tools. That helps a lot. But of course, I would also add that, once again, it's a bit of a cliche, but art fundamentals are very important. And if you don't have that, and especially in character art, it's quite important. if you can't show that in a portfolio, then it doesn't really matter if you know the software. It's not gonna be very easy to find a position doing character art. So I think definitely focus a lot on fundamentals. But even that can be maybe tricky to know, because there's know what to focus on, because there's so much. But if you're going into 3D and as a character artist, then definitely focus on anatomy and sculpting, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I can only go back to what you guys said, the basics. It's like I said before, the basics. It's so important to nail it, to get it right, and to have a good foundation of that. Because I mean, you can make a character and then slap on a smart material in Substance Painter and like, oh, look at my realistic character, but the forms and the proportions and everything is off. It's not gonna look good, even though you have micro pores in there that looks good in your render, but the whole picture is looking off. So I would rather have a nice sculpt with everything, all the proportions right, but no pores and none of those details. That's more important.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's say that someone wants to become a character artist and he has to find his first job. I wouldn't look at anatomy. I think it's more important for him or her to focus on creating clothing and assets for the character, because it's going to be like many years down the road since they are going to sculpt the thing. So they can land a job easier with doing props for a character rather than anatomy, because it's going to take like many years to do a good anatomy that they are going to do the production. So after they land that job, they should immediately start focusing on doing anatomy, because they have to progress their career, and anatomy is like a vital part. Like you cannot do progress in your career without knowing anatomy. And the same is like with environment. Focus on doing like small props as a netted drop or hard surface, have a start and an end. And as you progress, do a whole scene. Do a whole scene with a hero asset in there, and then do a whole scene with a hero asset and the character on top of that. So it depends on where you are, but if you want to land a job, focus on the things that you are going to do when you land the job. So for characters, it would be gear like clothing and assets, props and all that stuff. And for environment, smaller props, maybe some hero assets, and work it from there.
I think you have a good point, Niko. I don't entirely agree, but I see where you're coming from with that. I would say that, like, if I can see that there is a good quality in the portfolio and it's on there, like focused on secondary assets like clothing and stuff, then for sure it's going to be an interesting candidate. But if I can also see some sculpting and I can see that this person clearly knows anatomy and have artistic fundamentals, then I'm personally going to feel a lot more confident with that application and to proceed with it. So, but I think this kind of thing varies a lot from different companies, and what kind of work tasks you would do as a entry-level character artist will also vary quite a bit, and it's very possible that in some companies you would actually get to do more anatomy sculpting. In other companies, maybe you only work with like cleaning up 3D scanned models or whatever. So it's gonna vary a lot. But if you can show that you have those artistic fundamentals, then at least I'm much more confident that you'll be able to tackle whatever tasks. So that's why I'm bringing that up as an important thing.
Go ahead, Carlos.
No, I agree that, like, I mean, not all companies do clothes or use Marvelous Designer. So maybe you're gonna be sculpting a monster and then Marvelous Designer is not gonna help you at all. So back to the basics, if you have them there, it's easier to land the job, I think. But on the other hand, it depends. If it's a company where you're only gonna do clothes, then maybe anatomy is not that important, because you will have a base mesh that you will work on and you will never touch. the anatomy. It's just making clothes and stuff like that. So I guess it depends on where you're aiming to go. So looking through what they do and do something that fits what they're doing.
Thank you so much, guys. We reached the end of the questions. I want to ask you one thing before we finalize. Did you guys like this? Do you want to do more of this?
Yeah, it was fun.
We should. Wallah, I'm liking it. We should even come up with a name for this. We will discuss it in the group. Thank you guys, wallah, so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, man. Thank you for hosting.
Thank you, wallah, wallah. I'm so happy for you, yani, that we had this discussion. Inshallah, this is first of many to come. And we can even bring up great subjects. We can bring people from the 2D team and fight, you know. And yani, wallah, and from the UI, and from the UI, and we bully them. Yani, we can have fun, you know. Thank you guys so much, wallah. Thank you for your time. And inshallah we can do it once, maybe every 2 weeks. We will see how it goes. So we can do it at the end of Fridays, whenever it's convenient. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great weekend, and thanks for listening. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.